Christopher Robin, what exactly is doing nothing?
Well, I'm told it means going along, listening to all the things you can't hear, and not bothering.
And coming at you not quite live from a bedroom in Wichita, Kansas this week, because I was home for Thanksgiving. It's the very special episode of the Film Dudes podcast. We have Nick, aka Pogo, the music creator from Down Under, I suppose you could say.
Yes.
Thank you very much for being on our show.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. Thanks very much for having me on.
Well, just to do a quick little, autobiography piece about yourself. It said you were South African and Australian, so you were born in South Africa and moved to Perth?
Yeah, that's right. I'm kind of an alien from outer space. Never really lived anywhere in one place for more than a few years. Yeah. How about you guys? You guys sound as American as apple pie.
I grew up in Kansas, born in Wichita, going to the University of Kansas in Lawrence.
Oh.
So I've actually been fortunate enough to travel to Europe and other places, but I definitely call Kansas, USA home.
Yes. Okay. So you went through Europe?
Yeah, I was nominated for like a little marching band thing
Oh, no way.
when I was in high school.
Oh, cool. Which part of Europe was it?
I got to go to England, Switzerland, Italy, Austria, Germany.
Oh, man.
Little trip, basically.
That's amazing.
But that's not why we're here.
Well, that's fascinating. I mean, I've only been to UK. England. Yeah.
Hey, you've been to Australia, to survive there.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Fighting off the pythons and the spiders.
So, I guess to get into it, what's your inspiration? What sort of made you sit down and go, rather than fighting all the kangaroos and koalas, what am I going to do with my life? And you chose music. What led to that?
Well, I actually chose filmmaking. I wanted to make movies. And then I tried it. I realized that it's mostly people management and business dealings. I found the art side of filmmaking to be a very small part of the whole system, and I found that quite disheartening. And so I never really got into that. Then I went into animation to do sort of Pixar stuff. That was fun, but super saturated, really hard to get into. And I always had music as a hobby, and so I was playing around, and one day I took these sounds from Alice in Wonderland, the original classic Disney film from the 50s, I think it was, and they just came together in this way that made sense. And ever since then, I've been making music almost exclusively using sounds from films or games or people. So it's kind of like putting a jigsaw puzzle together, except I don't know what the picture's going to be.
So speaking of Alice, when I was kind of digging around, looking at your very lengthy list of songs, I've got a whole sticky note here filled up with every square inch of songs that I really liked. Alice is kind of what put you on the map, correct?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
So what was it like to sort of just kind of become a celebrity, really? I mean, you are known as a famous musician.
I'm known as many things. Yeah. Yes, it felt amazing because it was like, wow, I'm establishing this kind of emotional connection with so many different people at once, and there's people writing about it everywhere. And I had, I called everyone in the office because I was working in graphic design back in those days to show them this. And it was just this overwhelming sense that I had connected with everybody. And it's been an interesting journey because I never started out with the intention of getting views. This was before YouTube was a viable way to make a living, right? People were just uploading anything they could because they could. Nowadays, it's become a way for people to make a living, and so it's a lot more commercialized and industrialized and streamlined. But back in those days, it was just, you had viral videos, pandas at the zoo, or pythons or spiders in Australia. And we're going to keep coming back to that, I'm sure. And it was just, wow, okay, this is taking off. Let's do some more. And so I did, and it just took off from there. And eventually it unrolled into a bit of a career. I had people wanting me to do it commercially for them, different companies here and there. It's been a weird balancing act between making music for me, but then sort of making it for the people at the same time. It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, so I saw that Disney and Pixar had kind of commissioned you for, I think they said Toy Story and Up.
That's right, yeah.
What was that like, kind of being commissioned by basically our supreme overlord?
Well, they are now, yeah. Silicon Valley and Hollywood, they pretty much own everything. A little scary. But no, but it was I still can't really believe it looking back on it. They did fly me and my agent over Bryant. He kind of facilitated the whole thing. He was really the mastermind. Disney wanted me to take Alice down. And they wanted me to take down all of the videos I'd uploaded which were Disney related, because from a corporate sort of PR point of view, they couldn't be seen endorsing somebody who was kind of in breach of copyright, sort of. And so my manager was excellent. He said, well, all right, look, we'll take it down for a month. And so we privatized it for a month, and then we put it back up. But yeah, we did Toy Story. I got to meet John Lasseter, obviously the director of Toy Story. Yeah, he co-founded Pixar with Ed Catmull. It was. And just... You got the sense that this guy has so much creative energy that he can't focus on anything or anyone for more than a few minutes at a time. Really interesting man. And Ed Catmull was a super quiet guy. He was the guy that kind of founded Pixar, but he took care of the computer side, the engineering, and the hardware side. Really quiet guy, but super, super smart. And we met Tom McDougall, who was the music supervisor at Disney at the time. And yeah, we walked out of there with a copy of Up on Blu-ray. And I remember driving back over the San Francisco Bridge. Just looking back on it now, it's like, wow, I can't believe all that actually happened. But it was a fantastic blessing, and I spent 3 weeks making music and getting paid to do it, and I'm incredibly fortunate. Yeah, I'm incredibly fortunate.
So one more sort of personal question. I don't know if you want to try and keep the mystery of your name, Pogo, but I am kind of curious how you came up with that, if you're willing to share it.
I used to draw comic strips at school instead of doing my schoolwork. I hated maths. I hated geography, history. I knew I wasn't going to get into any of that stuff in my future, so why should I study it rigorously? And so instead I just drew comics in class, always got into trouble. But one of the comic series I drew was called Pogos, and it was this kind of Pokemon/Digimon inspired thing. Pokemon was still taking off back in those days, and I remember it airing on TV in New Zealand for the first time, and then the only thing anyone was talking about at school was Pikachu and Bulbasaur and Charmander. Yeah. Pogo was kind of just a comic strip I had going as a kid, and so I thought, well, I need something short and snappy and a bit nonsensical, so let's go with that.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's nowhere near where I thought it would.
No. You thought there'd be some deep philosophical sort of transcendentary meaning behind it.
I thought it was because the music was a little hoppy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I suppose it is sometimes.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not in a bad way. It's actually really enjoyable. Everything I've heard so far is
Oh, thank you, man.
really good.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, speaking about one of your pieces of work, Doubtfire,
Oh, yeah.
my daughter's been asking me to play that nonstop for a week.
Oh, no way.
Now yeah, no offense, but I'm starting to get tired of that song.
I'm sure. I got very tired of it, yeah. Yeah. I'm actually not sure if I should put it on the next album or not because, I'm not sure if it'll fit. It's kind of, yeah, it's weird. I'm sure this is the case with any kind of art, even podcasts to an extent, is if you work on something for too long, you get tunnel vision on it, and then you don't know what's up or down, and then you forget, you sort of lose perspective of how much you actually like it objectively. And then you come back to it 2 weeks later and you think, I don't actually like this that much after all. But if your daughter is begging you to play it, well, man, that's awesome. That's given me new hope.
Really loving it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Who knows? She might crash the party again.
No, actually, I'm up at my in-laws' house. I drove the Thunder Chero up here and figured it'd be quieter. They're at home actually watching Hook, which of course is another.
Oh, yeah, that's such a good movie.
Yeah, that you made.
What's the Thunder Chair?
My Thunder Chero.
Yeah.
About a year ago, I bought a '78 Ranchero that's been customized with 83 Thunderbird parts. So
No way.
yeah, it's got the headlights on the front and bucket seats.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I actually pulled it out tonight and decided to drive it over to my in-laws' house. It's their guest house when they come and visit, so.
Oh, wow. Oh, man, I've got to see photos of this thing.
I think I took a few.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to put that together?
Well, I bought it, and it was supposed to be up and running, and I bought it in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
It just barely made it past the Kansas border, and it died.
Oh.
So I had to replace a whole bunch of parts, and it's taken me about a year to do, and I've probably spent almost as much in the car as I did paying for the car. So,
Oh, jeez.
so yeah.
It sounds like a pretty awesome labor of love, though.
Yeah. I mean, some of it I had to get help professionally, and then other parts I was able to tweak myself and work on myself.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
I'll bet.
Yeah. It's treating me good now. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Oh, man, you got to send me pictures of that sometime. I want to see that.
Yeah.
You said 78?
I'm sorry, what?
You said it was 78?
Yeah, it's a '78.
Yes. Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's got the super long body on it.
Yeah. That's back before they started rounding off all the corners.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I kind of hope we go back to those days when cars have some edges on them again. Everything's a bar of soap now.
Yeah, they all look the same.
They do, yeah.
So, as far as cars, do you have a special car or automobile wise?
I like cars, but not enough to know how to fix them. My favorite car that I've ever had is a Golf GTI, the V-dubs. because so much torque, and it's all at the bottom. You don't have to go revving it to get the power. Whereas if you go a step up to the Golf R, it's there's more power, but you've got to go digging for it.
What year did you have?
Oh geez, that was a few years ago now. Yeah, and then before that, I had this little. It was a little Mazda MX-5. Those little convertible things, and yeah, they're so much fun, but they are like really impractical. You can get one other person in the car, and you'll be lucky to get a briefcase in the back. So I wouldn't do that again.
Now, so I know all about it. It's kind of boxy when you drive it. And,
Yes, very much.
yeah. But as far as gas mileage, it's actually a really reliable car.
Oh yeah.
And the engine always does well in Mazda, I think. That's
Yes. Yeah, they got the whole Sky Active thing at Mazda. They're doing something different.
Yeah. Yeah, my other car right now is a Mazda CX-5.
Oh yeah, the SUV thing.
Yeah, the crossover.
Yes.
Yeah, we decided to get a bigger car after having another kid, and
Yep.
we've had that since 2015. So
Okay. I hear the CX-5 still have. They're still pretty fun to drive. They got a good amount of grunt for for a crossover. Yeah.
yeah, it gets up and goes pretty quick,
Yes.
and it seems to handle bumps and everything pretty easily.
Oh, good.
But it also has that all-wheel drive.
Yeah. Yeah. You got loads of space for family and for like IKEA shops and all that, groceries.
Exactly.
You won't get much of that into an MX-5.
No, probably not.
No, got to get everything on the roof, and don't open it.
Well, I'm sorry that I hijacked this, Stuart. Maybe we should get.
What did this turn into the car podcast?
It's Top Gear episode.
Branch off.
Yeah.
Go branch off that, Landon.
And brings to you.
That's probably a good little segue, really rough segue actually, but nice little break in the conversation before we get into the meat of things. Starting with kind of the whole reason why I tried to put this together was just one day I woke up, my alarm went off, and about 3 songs in, it's like this awesome little beat, and all of a sudden I hear like Samuel L. Jackson, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, Lead Breakfast. Alright, that's a cool song. And it was like, it's by Pogo. Yeah, okay, I've heard Boy and Bear, that was a fun one. And so it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna go out on a whim and reach out to you and see if we can talk about what it was like to remix arguably one of a very well-known film for sure, by a lot of people. And what legal issues you might have run into because of YouTube and using spoken words as lyrics, and kind of like creating your own original piece. But were there any red flags that came up from Tarantino or somebody else, the production crew, trying to basically take away your work?
I haven't had any problems with copyright on YouTube, strangely, since 2007 when I started. And uploading movie remixes, you would think you'd encounter them all the time. Some people do. I know someone got taken down because they had a Studio Ghibli movie playing on a TV in the background somewhere. But I've never had any problems. There was the one time that Bangarang got taken down automatically by the Pepsi company. Because was it Pepsi or was it Sony? They had some kind of affiliation going on. But, I filed a counterclaim saying this is fair use, it's free marketing for the company. And ever since then, everything's been okay. My suspicion is that companies look at at remix videos as a form of free marketing for their films, content that they would otherwise have to pay for. And so they're getting it for free. It's not trying to supersede the movie. It's not trying to outmarket it or replace it or even really make money. It's just there because it's celebrating a director's vision. And I've never run into any problems, no.
Well, that's really good to hear then, because honestly, with how much other stuff you've remixed, Mary Poppins, Star Trek, obviously Alice in Wonderland, Toy Story, up the list really just goes on. And you've never had one single strike. That's actually really impressive. Me, as a little bedroom YouTuber, I've even had a few strikes. So.
You mean like to your channel, to the point where you can't upload anymore?
Not to where I can't upload. It was more of like a warning, but.
Okay, yeah.
And it was through like music that I was using through my video editing site. And so I basically was able to counter argue and win my case, saying, well, by using those in the EULA, that blah blah blah, I can use it for free. So anyway.
Do you think it's all an automated system?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's not like someone twisting their mustache at Google looking through videos to find a track that you don't have permission for. It probably is all like Content ID match software.
Yeah. It would certainly be interesting for the CEO of YouTube to be twisting her mustache if she had one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's turned into a really bureaucratic world, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, coronavirus, everyone wants to just stay inside and try and become a Twitch streamer.
Yeah. Yeah. And isolation is so bad for you. That's the other thing. Your mind kind of gets into this echo chamber.
Oh, we've got good music to keep us going. I've definitely curated a playlist of all your stuff now. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
The first one that came on was Data and Picard, and I've never actually watched a whole lot of Star Trek. More of a Star Wars guy, I guess, if you want to get into that debate, but I really love Data and Picard. It was really good.
Oh, thanks. So you said you're more of a Star Wars chap. Yeah. Yeah. I had a girlfriend once who I showed her Star Wars and she said it was the stupidest thing she's ever seen. And she loved Star Trek. And look, I mean, Star Trek gets pretty silly as well. But I think I didn't like the first Star Trek series so much. I found that to be a bit too much for me to invest in. But then the next generation, I found a lot of really good human stories. It's not really about aliens and spaceships. It's actually about people.
That's pretty interesting. That makes me want to go check it out now.
Yeah, I'd have to give you a list of eps because there is a lot of garbage. Like the first season wasn't great. Season 2 is okay. Season 5 is when you really start getting some amazing writing. But what do you? So you're a Star Wars guy. What do you make of Disney, the Mickey Mouse Star Wars? What's your take on that?
Oh man, I have a George Lucas biography sitting on my bookshelf, and I'm looking right at it. And I think that as a human, you want to move on with your life and whatever. So, all for selling Star Wars and doing it, but as a fan and everything, George Lucas made a huge mistake selling to Disney, I think.
You think so? Yeah.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Do you think he feels that way?
I don't know, because he's kind of disappeared into obscurity.
Hmm.
Really even heard anything from him? I know
No.
he's kind of working on the Mandalorian, right?
Is he? I didn't know that. I thought that was Disney as well.
I think I heard that he's working on the Mandalorian. Um, but I don't have Disney Plus, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. You're not on board.
No, I've got Netflix and Amazon Prime, and it's just like, well, there were Disney movies there. Why'd you have to go and make your own thing, Disney?
Yeah, it's another subscription payment you've got to pay every month.
Heads up.
Yeah.
Everything's turning into subscription now. Everything. I think in future we're not going to own anything we buy. It's just everything's going to be rented.
Well, back in the day when I first started my YouTube channel, what do you think about subscriptions? Like Amazon, Apple, Spotify. What else is there? I guess SoundCloud's free to a certain degree. But what do you think about using subscriptions to create a licensing library? And basically, by having a subscription, you can then use that music. Maybe it's a little extra by making it a licensable platform, but what do you think about that?
I think it makes sense with Spotify and Apple Music because there's so much music. Like, you're never going to buy all of those songs and all those albums. There's just too many. But in the case of software, there's always an app I want to get which I could use and which I really like the sound of. Or there's a pieces like even plugins now for your studio if you're making music are going in the direction of subscription-based models. So, you have the software in your toolbox, but you don't actually own it. It's not really yours, and it's going to expire. So, you go through the App Store on the iPhone, and so many reviews say the same thing. Like, I hate this subscription model. It's a real shame they've gone to the subscription model. And I kind of agree with that. But then if you look at Adobe, where you've got Photoshop, After Effects, Audition, you've got all the Adobe software for a monthly fee. Well, it's much cheaper than paying like $1,000 for Photoshop, and then you've got to upgrade it every month. There's a new version. So it makes sense on one side of the coin.
Well, I guess I'll put in a little plug for Wondershare Software Incorporated Company, whatever their actual thing is. But way back, I don't know, 8 years ago now, I bought. It was originally just called Wondershare Video Editor for like $40, and that's it. Now it's upgraded all the way to Wondershare Filmora 10.
Yeah.
Just like a few weeks back was their like major update, and I would honestly say it rivals Adobe. Not necessarily After Effects, but certainly Premiere, and it's only doubled in price. You can still go with a subscription, but you can pay just a one-time $80 fee. And we're not sponsored by them, but hey, for anyone out there who wants to get a really good piece of software, and Wondershare Uniconverter, that's what I'm using to do the recording right now. I hate subscriptions personally, just because I don't have a stable enough income yet to be like, oh yeah, I'll just take that and that and that. But
Yeah, I suppose that's a good point. It is kind of geared more towards people who are making a living out of what they're using the software for. And they have that stable sort of income through their work. When not everyone is like that, especially if you're just getting an app for your iPhone or your iPad. Everything, you've got to pay a monthly fee now. In-app purchases, they call it. So you can do a weekly or a monthly or an annual. It's like almost every app is like that now. And it's like that. It's not enough that they're taking your money. They now want your bank account as well.
Well, since we're getting into the technical stuff, I guess our listeners and myself, I'm kind of curious as to maybe what software you started out with, what you're using now, how many people you might have as a team to help you out, even, or if it's still just you. What's your process like?
Well, with Alice back in 2007, I had this app called Sony Vegas, which was and still is a pretty good video editor. But I knew nothing about video. And so I remember exporting each individual frame of the video clips I needed to a PNG sequence. And I think I was using Power DVD or some silly DVD software. Yeah. The Cyberlink guys. And then I moved on to Premiere. I pretty much always used FL Studio to make my tracks. Back in those days, it was called Fruity Loops. And before that, it was called Fruity Tracks, when it was literally just for DJs to put tracks back to back. And then they had a step sequencer, piano roll. All of a sudden, you could make music from scratch. And I downloaded a demo to this crappy Windows 95 computer we had. And it was just amazing that I could do all of this on my dad's computer at home. And I think I capped out our monthly internet data use just downloading this software, but it was worth it. And yeah, then I moved on to Premiere for video editing. I used that for many years until I found Resolve. And ever since I learned how to use Resolve, I've been fully converted. I'm never looking back at Premiere or Vegas or any other video editor. Resolve is just the holy grail for me. Yeah, and you've got a full color grading suite in there. You've even got visual effects with a node-based graph system in there now. I think Fusion. It's just amazing. And you asked if I have people who work with me. Occasionally I do reach out to people to edit a video when I'm busy on music or vice versa, help me finish a track. But yeah, I prefer to work solo. There's nothing I enjoy more than being alone in the Batcave, just chipping at sounds and making something that could or couldn't be going somewhere. Yeah, I think doing that solo is a lot of fun. That's my preferred way to work. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I might have picked this up from reading George Lucas's biography, but even before that, I always kind of lived by the, if you want something done right, do it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does help to collaborate for sure.
It really does. Yeah. I agree with both of those statements. Like, if you send off a job to somebody and then you end up giving that person a huge list of changes and amendments you want done, well, you might as well just use that time and energy to do it yourself. And that's the thing. But like you say, it's really helpful to collaborate, isn't it? Like you get ideas that you otherwise wouldn't get being in your own little echo chamber at home.
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of why I started this podcast was mostly I was just bored and wanted people to talk to. But,
right, yeah.
Hey, the three of us usually sitting around talking about movies and just to give us something to watch in the next week that we'd never really even considered. So,
Yeah.
It's an overglorified book club, pretty much.
Yeah.
I've known a lot of podcasts that have started that way though, and they've ended up being pretty big. If if you love doing something enough that you can do it for a really long time, then you're going to get better at it, and it's going to grow. How long have you guys been working on this so far?
This is episode 14. We started back in August. So
Oh wow! Okay.
6 months.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So yeah, I mean, for me, having a YouTube channel, God, I don't know, since well before they introduced all the stuff that a lot of people said they got screwed over with the whole like subscriber count being initiated and all that. But I definitely got to say that I made the mistake of starting my channel with the idea of going, oh, look at all these other people just streaming into a microphone and playing video games, and they make money. I could easily do that. That's the wrong mentality to go into. And so, like you said with Alice, you're talking about how you're just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
That's what you really got to do. And so I've kind of like had a fresh start going off to college and being too busy to play games and stuff.
Oh, that's good.
And so to kind of come back and do this podcast and go, look, we're just doing it for fun. Yeah, me personally, I might run my mouth a bit too much and need to clean it up, censor a few things every now and then, but
Don't we all?
I don't. But if we ever got sponsors or something, that'd be a good reason to start cleaning stuff up. But whatever. It's just for fun.
Yeah, you've got to do it because you enjoy the process, not because you're getting views and clicks. Because like you were saying, then you turn into another person on Twitch, talking into a mic, playing games. I haven't seen many gamers, like commentative gamers, who I would want to see all the time. In fact, the one that comes to mind, funny enough, is Robin Williams playing Spore when it was being announced.
Oh my god, I need to go look this up.
Yeah, they had him in that Creature Creator, and they just let him go. And it was just amazing. It was so funny, and it made me realize if you're going to be a Twitch streamer, you kind of have to be an entertainer. You have to be really interesting or really funny. You can't just be a gamer, because nobody wants to watch that.
Yeah. I learned that definitely the hard way. I'm more of a gamer. I don't have much of a voice. Once I get sucked into a game, I'm just like, okay, yeah, here we are.
Right. It's hard to game and talk to 100 people at the same time, I can imagine.
But, to see Robin Williams do something like that, it's always really funny to... Even this, for example, you're definitely a celebrity. I'm just some kid in the Midwest who got super lucky with this. I mean, I hope something comes of it, but if it doesn't, I'm still going to look back fondly on this. Just to be like, wow. Also, let's just thank the internet, because you're all the way in Australia. You're in the future, technically speaking. It's already Sunday morning.
I suppose that's true.
And so, you gotta look back on the internet's such a great place to be able to come together and just kind of the cesspool that it's turning into some days.
Yeah, quadrants certainly are, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't look at my Twitter feed. I can never, ever look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use it as a tool. Like if there's something important I need to say, or if there's something I've worked really hard on that I want to share, then I get Twitter out. But then I put it away when I don't need it. Where I think a lot of people fall into the trap of using it as a crutch. Yeah. Because it is addictive. You can't blame them. Like, it is designed to get people addicted.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I never signed up for Twitter.
You never signed up for it?
No. I mean, I have a Facebook account, but even then, I just see what everybody else is posting, and then I think about posting something, and I'm like, no, I'm not posting anything.
Because of the other things people are saying?
Yeah, I like to see what other people are saying, and a lot of times it's in order to keep in contact with people that I've met, and if I need to contact them later, it's like instead of keeping an address book or keeping them in my phone, they're on my Facebook account. I can always direct message them or
Yeah.
something. But yeah, the reason that I try to veer away from saying anything on Facebook or getting the Twitter account, I know that it's extremely addictive. I have an addictive personality, so I'm just kind of like, I'm not getting into that.
No, it's really good you can moderate yourself that way.
Yeah.
Because most people on there, I think, struggle with that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
Yeah. Yeah. And the real problem with it is that you're always comparing yourself to other people and how many followers they're getting and what sort of things they're saying. I think it's very anti-individual, whether it's deliberate or circumstantial. It's the whole system is very anti-you. If you don't think like the mob, well, good luck to you. But then, if sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if you go in and not look at all of that stuff and it doesn't mean anything to you, and you can use it as a tool, that's how it should be done. And I'd applaud you for that. But it does take a degree of willpower to put the Twitter away when you're not needing it anymore, and to not look at what other people are saying. It takes will.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And unfortunately, I don't think I have the willpower to put it away, so I just don't even get it.
Is it because of like the dopamine hit you get from seeing hearts on something you've said?
Oh, well, partly. I mean, in many ways, I really don't care what I say. It's more, I don't want to have to go back and think about what I posted publicly and be like, did I really mean that? Oh, should have I really put it that way? Should I have said that?
Right.
I think that I would self-criticize to the point that neuroses, I guess, is the
Right.
proper word.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be able to handle what other people thought about what I said, but I would go back and want to nitpick and be like, should have I said this differently? Should I have said it like this?
Yeah.
And then I would have, talked my way back out of it, or, put up another post trying to explain it.
Right.
Probably a poor job of that, and then, kind of go down Alice's rabbit hole, as it were.
Oh, there's a little segue there somewhere for Stuart. But I was just going to say there, Twitter is it's a two-faced mechanism, because on one hand, yes, it does encourage us to think more carefully about what we really want to say, having the Twitter, the character limit, and knowing that everyone's going to read it. But then on the other hand, it presents us with unhealthy motives for doing that. It's like, am I thinking extra carefully about my words because I'm trying to be concise, or because I'm overly concerned with the perceptions of other people?
Exactly.
It's a slippery slope.
It is.
Yeah.
I got one more question while we're on this topic. I know I've been like nerding out over everything, but as a celebrity now, looking back, did you feel like that you had to get into social media to promote yourself? Back even before you had an agent and all that, to get yourself out there. Maybe you created a YouTube channel and then you got Facebook and Twitter like I did to try and push yourself more.
Well, I had a YouTube channel because I was a teenager, and me and my friends were trying to make each other laugh, and that's all it was. I didn't even have any subscribers. I don't think channels even had subscribers back in those days. It was YouTube, like literally. That's what it meant. And then Twitter came around, and everyone was saying, "Oh, you should get this Twitter thing." I didn't see the point until it occurred to me, "Oh, okay, it's a newspaper for your brand. It's a way to give headlines and updates to people who want to know more about your work. I get it now." And that sounds wonderful on paper, but it's not how you end up using it, really. It's not how I ended up using it in my 20s. I developed a fantastic ego because of, well, not just because of Twitter. I had my own problems, but it certainly spurred me on. It exacerbated it. I wanted to impress people. I wanted to egg people on, maybe provoke them a bit, because it was so easy to do that and then get rewards for it. But I think I've always seen it as a way to inform people about what I'm working on and to put out some positive messages. I think those are the two things you should be doing with social media, and nothing else really. If you want to catch up with people, well, phone them. There's a huge difference between a friend and a follower.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
Sorry, I hope that answered your question. I feel like I veered a bit.
No, it definitely, it makes you look definitely like a human being by just saying that. It's social media, to put it as simply as possible, not as pretty, but it's a cesspool. At the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah. It brings out the worst in people, I think, including myself. And a few people I know as well. You kind of develop this different persona. I've seen a lot of people I know do that, and it's hard to pinpoint why. It's Twitter is kind of like road rage. You have the safety of the anonymity, and you're inside your car, so you're more likely to be angry and hostile. But if you walk up to somebody in public and you start cussing them out, "I'm going to ruin you, I'm going to do this to you, blah, blah, blah," top of your lungs, you don't think like me. Yeah, people...
Let's actually hear what you would say to somebody in the street, because we all know that you guys have a much different language down there.
Yeah, it's like...
Actually hear what you would say to somebody.
Yeah. If you did that in real life, you wouldn't be applauded. You wouldn't get reward. People would avoid you because you're acting like a psychopath. But if you do that on Twitter to somebody you don't know, well, you're heralded. You're a hero of the digital people, the sheep. So I don't know. I think Jack Dorsey, I don't know. Every time I see that guy's face, I see the face of somebody who's horrified. Like he's made a Frankenstein. I think he knows what he's done to people's minds on a wide scale. I can see in his eyes. He's like, "What have I done?" But you know what? I think the next generation or generations of people are going to be more clued into how poisonous it can be for their minds. And I think there might even come a time when public education implements a mandatory course on ego management and how to manage your persona online. It's not really you, it's a presentation, all of this stuff. We don't have that much at the moment, and I think we need it because I think it's screwing people over.
Well, this doesn't exactly concern you politically. Let's not get into all of Donald Trump's I know, I've already opened up a can of worms, but to be as precise as possible with this question, I believe tried to ban TikTok to some degree in the US. And with that being kind of like a musical platform, what do you think about that? What are your thoughts on banning art, in a sense?
Hmm. Well, I'm not familiar with it. Like he wanted to ban the platform from what?
Just from being used, I think, because it has like Chinese roots or something like that.
Oh,
Not gonna go there.
yeah. So he wanted it taken down, basically.
I think so, yeah.
We wanted to limit the access in the United States as far as that goes, but I think the main motivation for it is that he wanted China to buy it. Was my interpretation.
Huh.
But yeah, he pretty much like banned the use of TikTok within the United States.
Wow.
And I may be completely misinformed. Usually when it comes to political news, I don't even bother. But yeah, from the nitbits that I got, I think it was a power play against China about the TikTok platform.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not only like a political move, but it was also like a financial move. But back to Stuart's question, as far as, banning an artistic platform for people to access, what is your opinion and feelings about that being able to happen in general?
Uh.
I guess.
Yeah. I don't think it's really the government's place to tell people what they can and can't say or express or wear. I just don't think that's why we have a government. But I'm not sure I would call TikTok an artistic platform necessarily any more than I'd call Twitter an artistic platform or Facebook. It's giving everybody a megaphone, and so you're going to have a cesspool to some point, as Stuart was said.
That's a pretty interesting answer, actually. If you want to expand on it some more, I'll give you time.
No, go on.
Just because I've never used TikTok, I don't really want to get involved with it. I'm not, that creative. But the people I see on there, it's mostly just people dancing to music and kind of, in a sense, creating a music video.
So it's kind of more like Instagram, but for video. Is that how you'd say it is?
Yeah, I guess so. More like a Snapchat, I guess.
Oh, okay.
More video usage, even though Snapchat does have that functionality.
That's interesting. But you can certainly use TikTok to express your views and to spark debate and conversation, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's been in the news almost at least once a week, I want to say here.
So is it not used in that way, by and large?
I think it's a pretty creative platform that a lot of people just use to create.
Okay.
From what I see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I've always seen Instagram as well. It's a really nice, it's a much nicer place to be than some of the alternatives. Everyone is just kind of creating and taking pictures, So why would Trump want to take a platform like TikTok down if it's mostly just people making art?
Trump. That's the best answer I've got for you.
A political and financial issue with China.
Right.
Because, Trump has been blaming China for a bunch of stuff. And financially, we've been in the trade war with China since Trump has been in that.
Mm.
And there's been, what are those, tariffs?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been tariffs on China products and Chinese products and stuff like that, and it's just this huge political, financial pissing contest with China. So it just, I don't know. I mean, I try not to get too deep into it, but
And he was trying to do this as president.
yes.
Yeah.
Almost like an executive order where what he says goes.
Yeah, right. Well, what did you make of that, Stuart?
Honestly, it's hard for me to say because I'm not part of the platform. So as an outsider to the community and to politics, really, I personally think it was kind of just a petty move. If it's for monetary reasons, I'd like to see more details. But just to scratch the surface with this answer, I don't know. I thought it was kind of dumb because it's a creative platform,
Mm.
you know, freedom of speech, and that's where I'm going to leave it at.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. You can't control that sort of stuff anyway.
Not at all.
No.
Joe, I am so sorry for being a nerd here. Have you got anything to add to this conversation?
No, I'm sitting back and learning a whole lot.
Ask him what he's watching right now and what he's enjoying as far as cinematic experiences. I'll tell you what to say.
I'm just sitting back listening to this. I don't know. My thing is, you said, you know, I've just been listening to the music, and I don't really have much to add. Listening to the music, it's kind of been like looking at a painting by Salvador Dali, and you're like, man, I wish I could figure out how somebody can think like that and create like that. Yeah. So that's why I'm sitting back and just trying to learn.
So you're more of a listener than a speaker. Do you have a Twitter?
I try not to speak all the time. Otherwise,
I don't know if you,
my foot in my mouth.
Nick, if you were to make a 2001 A Space Odyssey remix, I'm sure we'd get a real comment on Joe there.
Oh, really? Are you a big Kubrick fan, Joe?
I think he left.
Did we
There he
lose
is.
him?
His corncob microphone cut out.
Freaking hell.
Oh, there he is.
Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Personally, what I would like to see is the Room remix.
The Room.
I think that would be very difficult to do. I don't know. If anyone could do it, I think that Pogo could do it.
You'll have to jog my memory. Which year did this?
Great question.
19 or 50? There's a few of them.
2003.
Oh.
Tommy Wiseau, the whole. I did not have.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow, yes. 3.7 on IMDb, 24% Rotten Tomatoes. Ooh.
Probably not worth your time.
9% on Metacritic. That's like worse than the Three Ninja movies.
Oh, I missed Three Ninja movies.
Didn't they had Hulk Hogan in one of those at some stage? Man, oh man. You guys have a very interesting film industry over there.
Oh my god, yeah. To this day, no one knows where Tommy Wiseau is really from or where his money came from. Like, I think he's from Poland, but that's about all we can say.
It's all guesses.
Yeah. But yeah, while we're on the topic of like what remix you'd consider, what about the Land Before Time? Just with like the whole little tiny dinosaurs going like, yeah.
Oh, that was a cute movie.
you ever do something along those lines?
Yeah, maybe. That was a great film. That film made me cry when I was a kid. Such a sad movie. Like his mother dies or something in the first half hour. Bloody hell. It reminded me of Up a little bit because that also started on a tragedy.
Wow, that's true.
Just first 10 minutes I'm crying in the cinema. This isn't a Pixar movie. What's going on? But it was a beautiful film though, really good story. Actually, The Prisoner, the TV series from the 60s, I would love to do something with. That's a hell of a series. If you've seen that, I mean, that's a real conversation starter.
Is The Prisoner?
Yeah, The Prisoner. What was it now? 1967? Yeah. And I think there were about 15 episodes or something like that. Patrick Mc...
Number 6, a former government agent who abruptly resigns from his job. That sound familiar?
Yes, that's it. And then he wakes up in a village that keeps him there, and he doesn't know which country the village is in or which allegiance the government is to, but they want information from him, and they won't let him leave until he gives it to them.
I'm getting Wicker Man vibes, but good Wicker Man vibes.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and the whole thing is about surveillance and censorship and collectivism. The sort of thing that happens when you give... I suppose, yeah, it deals with mob rule and it deals with all that sort of thing. And it's back in the 60s. It was really ahead of its time. So it's a science fiction, actually, I would put. It's got a bit of a Twilight Zone vibe to it.
I haven't played the game, but have you heard of We Happy Few?
No, I've always heard it, though. Heard of it. Have you?
I think I might have seen like a playthrough, a little bit of it, but I feel like this has maybe some inspiration, or We Happy Few pulled some inspiration from.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah. Yeah, The Prisoner is... that's a hell of a series. My goodness me.
Well, we are at hour and 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So I know I could keep going, but it's pretty much 11 for you now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. What time is it there?
Almost 9 o'clock at night.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one really great question to end on is what inspiration do you have for artists, creators, musicians, filmmakers, anything?
I think I would say... Well, I mean, I write about this stuff all the time, as it turns out. I'm always coming up with because I'm always trying to approach my productivity differently. Like what I'm going to try next week is doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll just focus on 1 or 2 projects. But then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I'll tackle a to-do list with like 45-minute work blocks. So striking a balance is a big challenge for me. But I think it's something worth thinking about because everything in the world now is so distracting, especially social media like we were talking about. So I think the best advice I can give somebody who's making something is just to not actually think about it, just do it. That when you sit down and you let it happen, when you get out of its way, that's when it happens, really. It doesn't happen on paper. It doesn't happen on a to-do list. It happens when you sort of water the flower and it grows and you don't pay attention to the outcome or how many petals it's going to have which direction is it going to grow in, how long is it going to take. You just be there for it. It doesn't matter how little you work on it each day. If you can push the needle forward by 1% each day, well, then you'll have it finished in 100 days. But don't pay attention to the outcomes. Pay attention to the process, what you really enjoy about the process of your work. That's where your attention should be, and I think that's when the magic happens on its own.
I love your gardening sort of analogy to that. I've never heard it been put that way, but it's the best way to describe it, I think.
Yeah, you're not really building something, and I don't think you're really responsible for. I mean, that's probably a whole different discussion. Like, are you the creator or are you a conduit for everything that you experience? You know, kind of comes through you and manifests as something. But as long as you keep watering it, it'll grow. And I've always found the more I think about what I'm making, the more I kind of destroy it and the more I don't work on it. So just trust yourself, I think, is the takeaway. Just trust your life, trust your emotions and the universe, and it'll come, it'll happen.
Yeah, that's so poetic.
Well, it's like with the podcast that you guys are working. You said this is your 14th episode now. Yeah. That's awesome. Just keep going. Like, do it for the fun. And you said you don't know if it'll be worth it in the end. And I wanted to ask you, well, at what point would you decide that it's not been worth it? Like, what would drive you to that conclusion?
For me personally, I think if Landon or Joe had to, like, step away from the podcast for an extended period of time, and it's just like, well, we're not our goofy trio anymore, and it's just going to be awkward. So, I mean, I would probably push myself to keep doing it, but I'd probably feel pretty miserable by just, like, the third episode by myself.
Yeah. But you would say that you do it for the fun. You do it because of how it makes you feel in the moment, sort of exchanging ideas and expanding your perceptions, etc. Yeah. And I think as long as you keep doing it for that reason, it'll keep growing. And it must be hard because I suppose you do depend on people you're working with. Especially with a podcast, it's like, you know, Joe Rogan wouldn't have much of a show if it was just him on a microphone.
Yeah, and so I am so, like, at a loss for words of how grateful I am for you to come on here.
Oh no, it's my pleasure.
Just because I think this should also teach people, though, the lesson of shoot for the stars.
Yeah.
Honestly, because, you know, as a kid, I've heard it so often. I'm 22, I still call myself a kid, but I've heard it so often where it's like, what's the worst that could really happen? They say no. Like,
Or they say nothing.
yeah. And so when you responded, like, immediately, I was just like, oh my god.
Everybody's phone was blown up.
Yeah, I was.
It's like your boner is coming through your phone, dude.
Well, I've had a good time. I've enjoyed chatting with you guys, and it's really, yeah. No, it's been my pleasure. Thank you. And we didn't get to talk about film too much. I suppose if there's ever a next time, that's something we can talk about more.
Well, I'd love for there to be a next time. That would be great.
Yeah.
I will put my plug out there that I am trying to produce a film with Joe as the screenwriter.
Oh, yeah.
Another friend. So, hey, if you really want to live your dream, Nick, you can, I don't know, be a location scout for.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. If you guys are in WA, I'll saddle up. I'll drive you around. I'll be the chauffeur.
We'll bring the Thunderchero.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we'll take a ferry 4 months to get over there.
yeah, probably.
Well, thank you again. It has been quite the treat to have you on. And good morning to you. I hope you have a very productive Sunday. And I will get this out probably ahead of the rest of the episodes as a special episode, I guess.
Awesome. I'm glad it's happening for you guys. Hey, that's really good. Just got to keep at it. Keep doing it for the love. Don't let the outcomes cloud your reasoning.
Right now.
Because I think everyone's going to be disheartened when they start something. Especially on the internet, being such a stupidly saturated platform.
Oh yeah, and just the memes of the YouTube comment section being the worst place you could ever.
Yeah, yeah. You want to moderate your intake of all of that stuff. Like, yeah, when you've got a big brand happening and you've got even more people coming through to listen, you should sort of assign 1 or 2 days each week where you go to a cafe or you go to a bar with some friends or something and you just make a point of replying to comments so that you're there with the purpose of maintaining your brand. You're not casually scrolling through, letting all the thoughts come to you like, oh God, we don't have as many this week as we did last week. Don't let your ego determine what social media is in your life, and don't let the people on social media define the worth of what you're doing. That's the main thing there, because then you really will struggle.
Such a very wholesome response that I think you really need to hear these days.
Yeah, well, because they don't face any consequences for saying what they say. When in reality, it could ruin your day. It could be the the end of a project for you. It could shatter your esteem or your belief in something. So don't make that an option.
Yeah.
Sage advice.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll let you get on with your busy day then.
Oh, yeah, sure, man. What are you guys doing tonight?
I'm gonna watch Repo the Genetic Opera. I'm gonna go to bed.
The what opera?
Repo the Genetic Opera.
What the hell is that?
Oh, it was voted worst film in 2006, I believe.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so it was 2008. It was voted worst film.
Ooh.
It has Sarah Brightman in it and Paris Hilton.
Wow.
And the guy who plays Giles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh no.
The series, not the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, and what's his name? Anthony William Scott or something. And yeah, it's based off of a Broadway musical that was a genetic, or kind of like a rock opera that they turned into a film, and it was a huge flop. But it's fun to watch.
Yes, I can. Yeah, it's like good trash. Yeah. I saw Kung Fu Hustle for the first time last week.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah, Stephen Chow, and I'd never seen any of his movies before then, and I couldn't believe it because I tumbled down his filmography the next few days, and I just, oh man, his movies are so. They've got this sort of early days Jackie Chan thing going on, like Drunken Master, but it's not Jackie Chan, it's Stephen Chow. It's really funny and good stories, yeah. Yeah. You got to watch some nonsense movies, I think, every now and then. You have to.
It helps.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you want a true nonsense movie, please go watch the Super Mario Bros. Film. It's not a film, it's a movie. It's a piece of trash. But
Oh, my.
make a remix of that, honestly. I'd love to see what you can possibly salvage from that.
Maybe. Is this the live action version film?
Yes.
Can you give me a release date? Or the year?
97?
Okay. That way I can find it a bit easier, yeah. I need trash movies at the moment. There's too much seriousness in the world. 93. Okay, cool.
Oh god, yeah, there's a series that's like animated.
Oh, yeah. I think I've seen those in memes, yeah.
Yeah, there's been a couple of mornings in the past week I've woken up to that because my oldest daughter's watching it on
Oh no.
Netflix.
Oh, wow.
or something.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. The Super Mario Bros. Super Show that was sponsored by Domino's Pizza at one point.
Wow. I've got to see that.
You have to look up the ending of the series because it's got this, I don't even know the actor's name, but he's so creepy looking, and just like the song that they've got is just like, swing your arms from side to side, come on, it's time to go to the Mario. It was so bad.
Yes, that's what I need in my life right now.
Oh man. Yeah, but we warn you, seriously, it is, oh god, it's pretty bad at times.
Better with doctors.
All right, it's on my list. It's happening.
Oh god.
It shall be seen.
Alright, well, thank you.
Thank you, guys. It's been awesome chatting. Thanks for the privilege.
Thank you. Oh, and Nick, I sent you the pictures through the message.
Oh, okay.
So they should be in
Uh,
DM.
oh, yeah, here we go. Oh, wow. That's an awesome ride. Wow, that you're not kidding. That really is out of 78. My goodness. Oh. Oh, that's awesome. You drive that. Oh, that is wicked. That's a head turner.
Yeah.
God, you got 2 speakers in the door.
Yeah.
Shit.
That's part of the custom, but I had those speakers replaced.
Yes.
The newer one. And then, of course, the stereo's been updated to Bluetooth. And I also added a backup camera.
Yeah,
So long.
it is very long. Yeah. You wouldn't want to reverse that on a whim.
Yeah, so I added a backup camera to it, too.
Man, oh man. It's so long. Yeah, it's like you could fit a lot of IKEA stuff in the back.
Yeah.
And then it's like a 2-seater.
Yeah, it is. Damn. It has the 83 Thunderbird bucket seats in it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it looks like a labor of love as well.
Yeah.
Jeez.
What was that, Stuart?
Have you fixed the hole in your garage from
No.
ramming it in?
A couple of times I backed into the back of the garage, and now I got a couple of holes in the wall.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, but that's nothing I can fix that.
Is that why you put the backup camera in?
No, not really. It's that I wouldn't back up into people, but I thought about pulling it in through the back, but then I figure I'm gonna get these black smoke rings on the wall.
Oh, really?
Back it up.
Oh, no way. What, because of all the exhaust?
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, jeez, yeah. Wow. Is the paint job the way it was when you bought it?
Yeah, I have not updated the paint job.
Wow, that's amazing. Jeez, they kept it in good shape.
Yeah, they did.
Huh. That's awesome. Oh, I love the steering wheel too. Oh, what kind of wood is that?
The wooden steering wheel.
Yeah. It's like varnished and lacquered and everything.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, whoever owned it before I did kept it in pretty good shape.
They really did, yeah. Thunder Chero. It looks like something I'd buy in GTA. It really does. That's awesome.
Would you buy it or would you just straight up steal it if you had the chance?
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. You don't buy anything in GTA. It's been so much fun talking to you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Have a really good Sunday night. Have we finished recording? Have we done like an outro?
No, not yet. So that's what I've been trying to like.
Oh, okay.
We'll let it start.
Been too busy with car porn.
All right, so from all of us at the Film Dudes podcast, this has been an epic episode, and we look forward to boring you to death next week with our generic stuff, I'm sure. So, stay tuned, everyone. And good night, good morning, and good luck.